Hello, this is Representative Garry Smith, and welcome to State House Report for the February 27, 2009. Are you aware that in South Carolina you have to present a photo identification to purchase Sudafed? You have to present a photo identification to board an airplane. You have to have one to cash a check. You have to have one to buy alcohol or cigarettes. You even have to have one to purchase a firearm. But in South Carolina, you do not have to have one to vote. Some argue that voting is a constitutionally protected right, as in purchasing a firearm, and cannot be abridged. I would argue that voting is not a right. It is a responsibility of all of our citizens. It is a responsibility that too many of us do not take seriously. The House of Representatives this week approves legislation that will require voters to present a valid government-issued photo identification when they go to vote. Despite the vocal accusations on the House floor, this bill has nothing to do with voter suppression or abridging someone's right to vote. Studies by the American University explode this myth. This legislation protects the one person, one vote right for those of us who are not trying to game the system. As my good friend Representative Alan Clemens, Republican from Horry County, said, we are ensuring one person and only one vote. Currently, almost anybody could vote as somebody else, as long as they have that person's voter registration card. This is a major hole in our election laws, and one that the U.S. Supreme Court said could be closed in Crawford versus Marion County. In fact, Justice John Paul Stevens, writing for the majority of the court in this case, stated that the state has a valid interest in protecting the integrity and reliability of the electoral process. Today, anybody could grab your voter registration card, which does not have your photo ID on it, and cast a ballot as you, and then do it again and again and again, provided they have other people's identification card. This legislation will now go through the state Senate. This legislation allows any voter to present a South Carolina driver's license, a state-issued identification card, a U.S. passport, or a U.S. military ID. These are all forms of ID, of which 2.4 million of the 2.5 million registered voters in South Carolina already have. And according to information from the U.S. Election Office, 99% of all Americans have. There are fees that you must pay to get these cards. So what about people who can't afford the fee to get a government-issued identification card? Well, we abolished the $5 fee that might prevent anyone from getting these cards, and therefore prevent someone from voting because they can't afford it. We approved this legislation despite the political stunts and scare tactics yesterday on the House floor. We are not disenfranchising anyone. I want every legally eligible person to vote. It is what makes our democracy strong. But the key word here is legally. I expect stiff resistance from some members of the Senate. It is essential, however, that we close this loophole so that out-of-state organizations such as Acorn don't come here to unduly influence our elections through fraud. As always, thank you for the privilege of serving you in the South Carolina House of Representatives. If I can ever be of assistance to you, please do not hesitate to give me a call. Thank you.